details of the functional requirements, the conceptual block diagram, performance spec, functional block diagram, and then we'll go into the technical presentation with everything we've done so far in Custom MCU. And then we'll finish up with our some of our planning items and then addenda. Okay, so I'm the hardware engineer.
I'm the project manager.
I'm the software engineer. Our advisor's not here, but it's Dr. Anna Gular, most of y'all know her. Our sponsor is a company called Martin UAV. They make unmanned aerial vehicle systems. They're headquartered in Dallas, but most of their development happens out in California. And they're the creator of the VBAT. It's a vertical takeoff UAV. We have a short little video here to show you what it does. This is the aircraft that we'll be integrating with. So as you can see, it starts in a hover. And the neat thing about it is that video pauses if you don't want to.
Oh, just use the
Use the laser pointer to pause it. So it starts in a vertical position, and then when they give it a signal, it'll tip over and fly in a fixed wing type position, and it has a huge duration time. Also has a huge payload compared to most UAVs. So that's the VBAT. Let's see, Daniel will give the overview of the project.
Okay, so we have a pilot and command station that receives the response data from the Martin UAV's VBAT, and that uses onboard avionics to interpret those commands, and then it responds them to us. This response goes at 900 megahertz frequency at 2.4 gigahertz.
All right, so the typical flight configuration kind of looks like this. You have a ground control station with pilot and command. You have something called the wave relay quad radio router. This takes signals, RF signals from UAV and translates it into UDP packets. And these go into the ground control station. So their newest configuration is with a directional antenna so they can get a longer range. It uses the same box, same ground control station. The only difference is they have a directional antenna on there. The problem that this brings up is that the directional antenna has to be pointed at the aircraft with a certain degree of accuracy in order for it to pick up and send signals. And so that's our problem. We need to find a way to point the antenna. So this is the concept of operation. We're going to receive STANAG 4586 packets. That's a NATO standard communication protocol for UAVs. We're going to take those packets and parse out the latitude and longitude. And then we're also going to use our own onboard peripherals to find our own latitude and longitude and the heading of the antenna. And we're going to use that data, throw it into an algorithm and figure out where we need to point it, and then swing our antenna around and point at the right direction.
Okay, so here's our project overview. So we're going to start off with peripherals from our ground control station. That is going to go into an algorithm, and then that in turn is going to go into a heading that will move our antenna towards the VBAT. And then we have to rotate this in a 360-degree circle, and that parabolic dish will move in that direction.
So what's important in this functional requirement is that it's a single parabolic dish, so we're only doing one antenna, and it's only on this axis. This is kind of a graphic so everybody can understand. We're not doing elevation, we're just doing a heading axis.
And then this is how it will be mounted. It's on a 1-inch tube, and we just bracket it onto a existing mount, and then that will be coupled to our stepper motor, and then that's what will rotate. And then we'll also have to embed our device into a box that can withstand light rain and environmental conditions. And then here's our conceptual block diagram. So we're going to get RF data, which goes into our wave relay, which then will be broadcasted out to our ground control station and also our Ethernet, onboard Ethernet port, which will then go into our embedded chip with information from our magnetometer and information from the GPS. With that information, our algorithm will calculate a heading. That will go into our motor driver, and our stepper motor will step towards where that information is, according to all those information together. And then the device will, we only have to track one device at a time, one UAV at a time, and we have a requirement of it tracking a drone that goes at 50 knots per mile at a 6-mile radius, and it has to be 50% of that being width. And then we also rotate 360 degrees, and we have to have a call resolution so that we don't lose connection within 30 seconds. It has to be in a protected case again, and it also has to be mounted on the 1-inch tube. And the device has to be reliable enough to withstand regular flight testing.
So now we'll go into the FPD that will best describe all the communications the sensors we're using, how they're connected to our microcontroller, and basically the decision, or how it will then relate to our motor driver, which will turn our motor. So first, we'll look at the voltage regulator and the magnetometer. So we have our power coming into the board, which will be 12 volts that we're taking down to 3.3 to supply to our sensors and to our microcontroller. Up top, we have the magnetometer that we'll be using to get our heading, and we're speaking to it over I2C, and it's going to be off board and connected, or we're going to mount it onto the tube itself, and it's going to be our way of basically error checking and making sure that we're turning the right way, and if we turned enough. And then that will come in and then connect obviously to the microcontroller. And then next, our second sensor is our GPS sensor. We're talking to it over UART, and it's going to be connected on the board onto headers. And then off the board, we have a patch antenna, which will come outside of the box and then be also mounted close to the tube itself. And then next, we connect to a motor driver, which will take the information on the microcontroller and then be able to manipulate that into a PWM that will be sent to the stepper motor to actually turn it and tell it what steps to take to get to the angle LED. And a big part would be the Ethernet section. We chose the TM4C129 because it has a built-in Ethernet controller, so you don't need another external module to put on there. And we just have our Ethernet port connected to our magnetics to then basically for protection, don't want to hurt anything. And then we have our JTAG header, so then we can debug it and talk to it and program it. All right, so now we're going to start the technical stuff that we've gone over and developed over the past couple of weeks. So this first section is the power section. This is an overview, just so y'all know what's going on here. These boxes are from the microcontroller. It's 128 pins, so they divided up the symbol into 4 different symbols. So this one has all the power pins on it. And then this is our VREG. So go into detail here. So this is our input connector. We're taking 12 volts in from outside of our box, so we have an external connector there. All of this circuit was from the web bench on TI. We used the LM259 to HV voltage regulator, and we added in our own LEDs. So this is an indicator for 12 volts blue LED, and then we have an indicator for 3.3 volts. These are some little test pads that we added in there. All right, the second half of this, these are decoupling capacitors for the microcontroller. So these are for the 3.3 volts going to VDD, and then these down here are for our core voltage. It runs on 1.2 volts, so it uses a separate set of decoupling capacitors. All right, next, so these are our I2C connections. We added some electrostatic discharge protection. That's what these components are. And then these are the pull-up resistors for the I2C signals. Right here, this is our JTAG connector. So this is a TI standard set of pull-up resistors. And this header pin is also standard at TI. All right, so these are also just 0.1-inch headers that we use to plug in our stepper motor driver module and our GPS module. And like I said before, this is the GPS, or not GPS, the microcontroller symbol, and they all plug in here. So you can see these are from our stepper motor driver, JTAG, I2C, more stepper motor driver, and it's GPS. And these are Ethernet LEDs, and these are some test pins that we brought out just in case we needed them. Okay, so next part are our switches and our oscillators. So the first one up top, this is a switch that we're going to use to externally calibrate the device. So if it gets out of whack or something, the user can just press this button and it'll calibrate and they can reset the system in a way. This is a test header. We just brought out extra things just in case we needed them in the development process. The next set, so this is a reset button. It's active low, so you insert this button, it sends a signal to the microcontroller to do a power on reset. These resistors here, they're essential for bringing up the microcontroller. One is a wake pin, so this is if you put it into sleep mode and you want to wake it back up. We're not using that, so we just tied it to ground. Our bias is used in Ethernet and also had some relation to JTAG, so put that in there. These are our two oscillators. So right here, this is a 32.768 kilohertz crystal. It's used for timing. It's also used in real-time clock. This one right here is 25 megahertz. This is the fastest crystal you can use with our oscillator to make it run at its fastest speed, which is 120 megahertz. And it was required for Ethernet to run properly. These resistors and capacitors are just part of the circuits that the crystals need to be able to oscillate correctly. All right, so this is an overview of the Ethernet section. We'll go into more detail, but just so you know, these little red markers here know differential pairs, so in Altium it knows to route them in a specific way in the layout. All right, so some decoupling capacitors. These go to the microcontroller. These are some pull-up resistors. Next part, so these are this is our magnetics. It's basically a transformer coupling to associate the grounds together so they can talk on the same voltages. This right here is electrostatic discharge protection, and then these are just some indicator LEDs for status and activity. And then this is the actual port that you plug the cable into. Important to note here is it has a chassis pin, and that's a separate ground that just this port has. So that was an important detail in our layout. So this is what our whole layout looks like. We'll go into more detail in a second, but this is our power section. These are where the modules plug in. So you can kind of get a visual of that now that you've heard about the headers. This is our external connection to the ITC, and then this is switches, JTAG, Ethernet. So this is our power section. This is where we put our LEDs. Voltage comes in here with a lot of vias, so we don't have any current choke points. It comes into our voltage regulator, which is here, and here's the rest of the circuit. Puts it out here at 3.3 volts. And all of these drop it down to our power point, so our power point is running at 3.3. These were the test pads that I was talking about, so we could easily debug our hardware. All right, so this is a couple sections all in one picture. So ITC, this is our BAT54S, that's the electrostatic discharge protection component, and the pull-up resistors are right next to it. So we kept that all together here. The second header is to power the off-board ITC or magnetometer chip. This is the footprint for our microcontroller, and you can see a lot of capacitors piled up around it. Those are all the decoupling capacitors. Best practice is to have that as close to the pins as possible, so that's why they're all squished up against here. These are the pull-up resistors on the Ethernet. You can see differential pairs. They're supposed to route close together and be close in length, so that's what these are. We'll show more of that later in the Ethernet section. These are indicator diodes, LEDs for the Ethernet, and then these are our switches and JTAG header. Okay, so Ethernet section was a lot more complicated than the rest of it. First, we had to do a keep out zone for any other components and traces. It's a high frequency signal, so it's kind of sensitive. So in this picture, this has our traces in it. You can see they're short differential pairs. That's the rest of the differential pairs. This red field notes where the power plane is cut out. So the bottom of our magnetics chip is not shielded, and in their data sheet they said if it's not shielded, you want to cut out ground power from underneath it. So that's what these red and green fields are. And then right here, this green line cuts our regular ground that we have tied to our 3.3 volts away from the chassis ground, and that's when if you get a big electrostatic discharge from your Ethernet cable, it goes into a separate ground and not back up into your microcontroller or anywhere else it's not supposed to be. Okay, so we had to provide a solution to mount the antenna reliably, deal with some torques, and also to have the bracket that the antenna has, give it a spot to mount on. So this is our solution. This is the 1-inch pipe. So you saw the L brackets earlier. It just kind of clamps down on this, so we just need to provide the correct diameter pipe. We decided to use 2 bearings and a slip ring to take care of the torque. So the 2 things we're worried about on a antenna mast is wind load, which moves it like this, and then you have an axial load from the antenna, which is pushing down. And you want to take all of that out of your motor because it's not built to deal with that. So what we did, we got a bearing with a set screw. So this is going to go here. It's going to mount on a box that we haven't designed yet, but it's got set screws. So basically, all the load will be going into that bearing and then into our box instead of our motor. The second bearing is up higher, and it's going to be mounted in a similar way, but because it's up higher, it gets rid of the wind load. And then the slip ring was an important part in our cable wrap solution. So what a slip ring does is this inner part will actually be set with this pipe, and it's got wires coming out of it, like so. And it'll spin with the antenna, but this outer part will not. It'll be mounted to the box as well. And it's essentially got some mechanical fingers that drag around a contact ring, and it keeps this signal continuous despite the rotation. So that'll come out and go to our devices, and that'll keep our magnetometer from wrapping up around this bulb, because otherwise it would be on the outside. And then the stepper motor. Moves in designed increments, so our motor moves in 0.094 degrees steps. So that way we can get a good idea of how far we've moved it and how close it is to being on target. But that's why we have the magnetometer. It's going to negate the error that comes out of the open loop system.
So now we go on to our flowchart that we have for our code that we have now and what we're planning for. So we start out with just all the basic configurations, pin configurations, setting up your peripherals, initializing what you're going to be using on the microcontroller, and then you have to set up your timers and your clocks that you're going to be using for your communication and for our motor driver. And then we have this. The first thing that we do is we want to configure our GPS, and it has the longest cold start time, so we need it to be powered on as soon as possible. And so that's where we start with that too, because we need our location as fast as possible. So we configured it to receive just 1 packet. The Venus GPS tracker can be receiving 7 different packets, and so we only want it to receive 1. So we format the request, and then we clear out all the receive errors, because it might be in the FIFO. It can store our messages from our data from earlier times that you ran it. You're just turning it off and on. So you want to clear all that out, and then we want to start receiving and reading and saving the data. So then we read for 160 bytes, because the time between packages, it'll send basically garbage data that we don't want. So we're going to take a big reading, and then we're going to scan for the message start. And we know exactly how each message starts, and so we're looking just for that specific message header. And if it doesn't get that, then it's going to go back and then start over the reading again until we get the message we want. And then we start to parse the data. It's separated into special, basically the way you receive the message, it's separated by commas. So we parse the data into different arrays, and then we have to check to make sure that it's actually a full array and good data. If it's not, then we have to basically read again and make sure we have a good lock on a satellite. And then once we have the good data, good lat and good longitude, then we'll save it to the array that will be average, and then we average the array, and so then we have our actual coordinates that we'll be using in the calculation. And then once we have that, we'll pass it into our main code, that will take it into a mathematical algorithm using trigonometry to calculate the azimuth, basically the heading, between the 2 points, and that will tell us how far we have to move the motor to keep up with the drone. And then So once we get the heading, it'll send that to the motor driver. The motor driver will have set profiles that we set in our code, and they'll run that code to, or run that profile to the motor driver, to the motor, and it'll start turning.
Okay, so here's a little bit about our algorithm that we use with the motor. So I know there's a lot of math here, but the main idea is that it calculates a certain amount of steps that it needs to accelerate. And the reason why you need to do this is because if you just start stepping it really fast, the motor won't have enough torque to move the antenna. So you want to step it up slowly. So it calculates that distance, and then it does a couple other calculations, and it essentially calculates the delay you need between steps to ramp this up and give it the correct acceleration and deceleration. And there's kind of a visual of that. So this is an acceleration delay timer ticks graph. So you can see the delay is getting smaller and smaller as it iterates the formula. And on this side, it's doing the opposite, decelerating. So it's adding more delay between each step.
And these are the packets that are basically the messages that we get for our GPS. It's an NMEA standard of messaging. And the way that we're looking for a message and making sure it's correct, we are looking for this first part of it, which if we get that, then we know that we're receiving a message and we'll probably receive a full message. So then the next part we look at is the latitude and longitude. And so we try to save that, save a full message, save the full thing separated by commas. And so we read up to a certain point, and if it's not correct, then we would end the loop. And then this is all the other, basically the rest of the half of the message that can be saved and that we don't want. And that's why another reason why we have to reset it, because that can be saved into the space, or like saved into the file phone. We don't want it there, so we have to clear it out and make sure we get the full message. And then now for the UDP packets, that we're trying to receive, the payload is this STANAG packet inside of it, and this STANAG is a NATO standard for transmitting data. A bunch of different things, but we're only really concerned about one packet, and it's this message 4000 that will have the location data of the drone itself, and that's all we need. And so then we can put that into our algorithm, calculate, and then turn the motor.
Okay, we have a little demonstration for you. What we're going to do is we're going to grab a GPS coordinate from our GPS. The antenna is hanging out the window right now. We're going to run that through the GPS function, and then we're going to put that into our azimuth algorithm. And we picked Huntsville as our other point. It's far enough away, and we could figure out what the actual degree change was to verify this. And so that azimuth should be 79 degrees away from here. So we're going to run it. You'll see the calculation it comes up with. And then we'll have the motor turn. It's going to run the speed profile that should turn 79 degrees. All right. So this is the start of our main. We're going to run it through all of our configuration stuff we discussed before. Okay, so you can see this position base equals GPS RX data. That's GPS receiving everything, and it passes it to these two variables. So you can see that's our current location. And this is in degrees, minutes, decimals of minutes format. So we had some trouble trying to figure out all the conversions between that, but it's an important note. This next function will calculate the azimuth, and it will show up here in a second. So angle, that's what it calculated, about 79.58 degrees. It's now going to pass this to so a loop we have here that's going to run our speed profile. And I'll show you the motor turning here. So it's a little off because it's a loop system, but that's the main idea, proof of concept right there. We're turning it, it's pretty close. But that's the reason why we're going to add the magnetometer in. As you saw, it didn't get all the way over 79 degrees. So what we'll do is we'll spin it, get close to it, read from our magnetometer, and adjust from there. And that's closing the loop on the feedback system. Back up the video. All right, Daniel's going to go through the planning details of the vision video.
So here's our timeline. I'll kind of clean it up to put up the major points of where we're at. As of right now, we are on schedule. We have our alpha software done, and of course our CDRs today, and we're all here. We have a lot of work to get to where we need to, but we have our final hardware due on the 23rd of March, and then the 29th is our week 10 demo. So we're hoping that we have most of that done and a little bit of polishing up before we hit our final demo. And then here you see our overall Gantt chart here of all our different phases, our alpha, beta, our final, and how they're going to go. And then I'll break it down into the lower level. As of right now, we're having issues pausing our hardware in the loop station because it's not fully up and running. We're currently talking to our sponsor to get it fully up and running so that we can actually use that information that we receive from there to interpret it, to get into our Ethernet ends, to do the calculation that we need to do. But luckily for us, we have a fully functioning beta forge and we are ready to move on to final, which will cram that time down on the hardware aspect so that we can focus that onto the software. And then if you have any questions.
Yeah, on the flow chart, y'all had the RX 160 going to, y'all changed it before I wrote down whatever the next step was. Yeah, scan for message start. If there's no message, it's going to loop back. So what if you never get a message? Is there a timeout that you are going to wait, I don't know, 30 seconds or something or whatever? Like what if you just get stuck in that loop?
So this is our flowchart for our CDR demo, but we are going to work something out for that. So we had problems with that down the PIC. This didn't pick up a signal. So we were thinking about having an LED indicator on the board that says it doesn't have a lock. That way they can see that that's why it's not doing anything.
Okay.
But the whole system as a whole won't work without a fix. So it just has to wait until it gets it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we'll have an indicator for it.
Where are you burying super account?
We actually found ours on Amazon.
Is that the same motor you plan on implementing in your prototype?
Yep, so we got this one recently. It's a NEMA 17. NEMA is a standard sizing chart, I guess, for electric motors. On top of this, it's got a 19-to-1 planetary gear system. So at the bottom of the gears, it spins like a regular stepper motor. It spins pretty fast, but the gearing slows it down and allows the more torque for it to spin more torque, but it spins slower and at a smaller step angle.
On your schematic, is there a reason why you used a 0 ohm resistor?
Yeah, so let me see if I can find that. Yeah, right here. Turn on some.
Yeah.
So it's just for so we can isolate different sections of the board as we're populating it and testing it. So the first thing we did was we put power on the board and we put nothing else. Then we gave it 12 volts and we did a bunch of continuity tests. We did that before we gave it 12 volts. And then we checked all of our test points to make sure we're getting 3.3 volts everywhere else. And then we moved on. And so that was our way of isolating these sections from the rest of the board as we move through the debugging process. Any other questions? Dr. Russell?
Exactly that many steps, and that it's very precise. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But, so you were saying that you need the magnetometer to close the loop on this 100%. I can see it's a good chat, but I don't see it being necessary to get where you want it to go. There's not a missing there.
there's slippage in stepper motors, so we were trying to cancel that out. And it also, so if you, it needs to have a reference to turn. So if you just set it down, the antenna's pointing off in some direction. There's no way to know what that direction is in software without having a magnetometer. So in theory, it could turn it the way it's supposed to, but they'd have to set it down pointing north or whatever we're referencing the software. So the magnetometer takes workload off of the end user.
Okay, and then my other question is the slip ring. Is it let you just turn and turn and turn?
Yeah.
What, does the RF cable go through that?
Yeah, our RF cable will go through the pipe. It'll get a little bit of twist, but this system isn't going to be used in lots of full continuous rotations. Yeah. So yeah, there are slip rings that have the RF go through it, but they're extremely expensive.
I would imagine.
Is there another question over here?
Yeah, I did. So, am I to understand that this actually, your antenna base, is that portable too? Is it meant to be portable?
Okay, so that's what we're trying to show at the beginning. So this mast right here, they already have, and they have they have Omni antennas on it and other kinds of things hanging off of it. So the base of it is, this is what our functional requirement is, because they will have any antenna they want to stick on there to point in the right way. They want to be able to just mount it on this pipe.
Okay.
And then you can't really see it in these pictures, but there's a world mount on the end of it, so that's where ours will mount. So they can, it's modular in a way with their existing setup.
Okay.
Nice.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.